Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Thank you for joining Brian Scott, Director of Workplace Engineering at Cox Automotive, and myself, Christine Esterling, Director of Change Management at Enabling Technologies. Enabling Technologies is a 5-time Partner Award winner, most recently named the 2020 Microsoft US Partner Award winner for Teams, Meetings, and Calling. We also earned the designation for finalist in the same global category for Teams, Calling, and Meetings. Enabling Technologies is a full cycle planning, implementation, deployment, and managed services partner of Microsoft, ensuring that customers can make it to the cloud in a secure and productive way. Brian, would you like to provide an overview of Cox Automotive?
All right, thank you, Christine. A little bit about Cox Automotive. We employ over 30,000 people around the globe and are made up of a family of over 25 brands and services that improve the experience of buying, selling, owning, and using cars. Our brands include familiar names and industry leaders such as AutoTrader, Kelley Blue Book, Manheim, Dealer.com, and DealerTrack.
Brian and I are here to share a combination of lessons learned and adoption best practices as we reflect on our response, our recovery, and the reimagination of work post-COVID. For context, I'd love to start by sharing just an overview of the ideal approach to adoption and change management with our customers. That ideal approach is typically a program where we incorporate different success criteria. We will kick off planning efforts at the same time that the technology efforts start planning. This ensures that there's a cohesive and structured approach, and we're all aligning throughout the entire project. We conduct an initial discovery. That discovery allows us to uncover key stakeholders, sponsors, and potential champions throughout the organization. As we learn more about the change, the user impacts, and define successful outcomes, we design a program to identify and remediate any kind of barriers to adoption there might be. Next, we develop a champion program that incorporates communication and training as well. The champion program, the communications, and the training strategy all take into account some different usage personas inside the organization. As we all know, an executive inside of an organization works very, very differently than someone who might be working the front line in a retail store. This allows us to ensure that when we communicate and we train to these different employees, we provide a meaningful message that resonates with the way that they work. Each phase of our journey accounts for these differences in the way that people work and incorporates meaning for every person impacted. Once planning is complete, we work with a team of communication and learning experts to begin developing the custom resources needed for success with the program. Those resources are used in the project execution phase and are followed by a reinforcement campaign just to ensure that we're driving the right behaviors and that we're maximizing the user experience, that we're building in business productivity, and that we're also driving towards project success. As we reflect on the last several months and the different changes we saw in the world, the way that we live and the way that we work, I think we all agree and simply just state we weren't really ready, not as humans and not as businesses. For my organization, Enabling Technologies, we were some of the very lucky few that have worked 100% remote for years. That wasn't an adjustment for us. It made us very agile when this happened. We were able to shift our priorities and respond with urgency as our customers made the unexpected transition to the cloud and remote working. Client engagements ranged anywhere from Teams migrations for voice to meetings, collaboration, and also incorporated securing that remote work environment. We also incorporated best practices for working remotely and ensuring that your employees could adapt to new tools pretty much overnight. We had to scale quickly and adjust the way that we work to help our customers respond in order to maintain their business continuity and really the ability to continue teaching and learning from anywhere on any device. We spent hours reimagining how best to support our customers, both short and long term. This is something we would have had the luxury of weeks to do previously. Developing new offerings and reorganizing the existing offerings to support customers where they were at in that very moment. As we entered the recovery phase over the last 4 to 6 weeks, our engagement model shifted significantly to support customers that took a reactive approach to something like Microsoft Teams and remote working. The initial discovery we do with customers now includes understanding what took place or how new technology was introduced over the last several months. Something key for us to understand as we looked at adoption and change management is that the process doesn't change, even though the circumstances might. The process remains exactly the same. We must build a plan, we must engage champions, we need to communicate, and we need to train and reinforce. That process doesn't change. At the end of the day, the starting point is important, but it doesn't change what it takes to be successful. Brian, you're a longtime Microsoft and enabling customer. I'd love to hear in your words how you've seen remote working evolve as a result of COVID-19 at Cox Automotive.
Prior to COVID at Cox Automotive, we had about 10% of our workforce that was 100% remote, with many others that occasionally worked remote. With that, there were still pockets of resistance, though, to remote work and concerns of employee productivity. COVID forced the path forward, and overnight we went almost 100% remote. From a technology perspective, we were positioned well in many areas with a solid foundation in Teams, OneDrive, and device management. COVID has, though, accelerated other planned work, including additional data migration to the cloud, removing that reliance and potential capacity concerns on VPN. We fast-tracked Teams voice deployments. While no one was in an office using their traditional desk phone, it was a great opportunity to go in and make that change for people and give them a new capability while at home. Also, enhancing the out-of-box user experience. When someone gets a new computer shipped directly to their home, we wanted to make sure the user experience was best in class, because when our office doors closed, we didn't stop hiring.
Brian, you mentioned something that I see day in and day out with our clients. One of the most common barriers we see within an organization is a specific person or a group of people that create a pocket of resistance to change. Remote working wouldn't have been such a drastic change had we not had those organizational pockets of resistance to remote working within the executive and leadership teams prior to COVID. In the words of Satya, we experienced years of digital transformation in just a matter of months. When you look at that resistor audience, what are you seeing and hearing from them today, and how has that mentality shifted? How do you think that's going to shape the future of remote working inside an organization long term?
It started with change and realizing that for many people, they can be more productive when remote with fewer distractions, especially in those roles where they need heads down focus time, but also in understanding the flexibility, as there's no one size fits all. Even on my own teams before COVID, I had people that were wanting to work remote even 100% of the time. Some of those same people are the ones that now can't wait to be able to get back into an office.
As you look to the next 3 to 6 months, what have you prioritized to help employees successfully leverage remote productivity and collaboration tools?
There will be a focus on looking at how we continue to provide training that is easy to consume and doesn't take extended time from people. While the foundations are solid, through a few recent retrospectives that we held, we confirmed that even on our own technology teams, there are many people who have plenty of best practices to learn. It's one of those you don't know what you don't know scenarios, and there is always an opportunity to become more efficient and effective, especially with the rapid innovation and change on the Teams platform.
Thank you, Brian. As we launched into this uncharted territory, for businesses that meant keeping our customer service and ensuring our employees were safe, minimizing the disruption. Organizations didn't have the luxury of a week or a month to plan this long drawn out program to launch successfully. Instead, we responded the best we could. The inability to plan and test has created some risks to our businesses, our employees, customers, and even the economy. It's now time to recover and really reimagine. The change was forced. Now we must adapt, and always continuously improve to drive growth. Enabling is an elite Microsoft partner that over the past several months has partnered with Microsoft associates to prioritize a couple of key areas to drive success with our mutual customers. One of the highest priorities is the human element to change, driving adoption and change management strategies to support and optimize the experience for employees and customers throughout this transition. Without employees and customers, we're left with very little. A very close second and third have been the governance and security around these changes. Governance to identify different opportunities to manage and configure policies while also working to enhance the overall M365 security to protect the organization, their customers, and their employees. There was no right or wrong way to deploy Microsoft Teams amid this pandemic. We did what we had to do when we had to do it. This adjustment in how we prioritize our engagement with a customer allows us to really meet the customer where they are today by looking at why, how, and what. Taking Teams, for example, we address these questions to help determine our current state potential risk, and also barriers, as well as what's next. We look at why Teams was deployed, when it was deployed, how was it deployed, what was communicated, and how was it communicated, what was trained, what are the different wins that the organization and the users experienced throughout this transition, what are the different gaps that are still present. Those questions address the reaction. Now take it a step further by reimagining the way our organizations and our employees operate and work. What do you want the future of Microsoft Teams to look like? But then don't leave it at just Teams. Look at collaboration, communication, and productivity as a whole. What do you want that future to look like for your organization and for your different users? We want to look at what opportunities are present inside the organization. We want to think about what opportunities this does present for us. Think about like the human capital, the footprint, the financial impacts of working remote or leveraging something like Microsoft Teams. Once we understand as a leadership team what that vision is, it's time to shift to the employees and other key stakeholders. This helps us understand their vision, the way that they want to work, and the way that they see this working best. Involving these key stakeholders in the planning and the execution helps us drive advocacy through a feeling of inclusion and control in a time where recently they haven't had a lot. Using a similar approach to above, we then head to the employees asking similar questions, being really careful not to lead the responses. We'll leverage a combination of focus groups, just being sure that we're including both resistors and champions. We'll also leverage surveys and even the adoption analytics in M365 to better understand what tools are being used, what's being maximized, and where are there gaps in usage. Potentially, we can even find what if those gaps are present at the organizational, departmental, or even user level, and then make a plan from there. Again, all of this information plays a vital part in defining that path forward for adoption, governance, and security, truly driving the experience you want for your employees long term. This allows you to redefine success and provide an executive summary of success as a result of your efforts. That's enough for me. Let's hear from Cox Automotive, what you're doing to mitigate risk in remote working.
Absolutely, Christine. Security has always been important, but was often tied to on-network capabilities and technologies. Devices, identity, and data security must be manageable and able to be secured anywhere on the internet. Now, I've had this laptop that I'm on since January, and while it's never once been on internal company network, it's fully managed and secured along with my data and my identity. We did, though, recently expand our security awareness and training team and focused efforts on best practices for work from home, home network recommendations, do's and don'ts for those with children now in virtual learning, keeping personal devices up to date and secure. Security must be everyone's responsibility, so we are doing everything we can to equip our employees with the right knowledge and know-how.
That's great insight, Brian. Enabling's partnered with you a few times over the past couple of years to offer different adoption and change management services for Microsoft solutions. But most recently, we partnered to provide an augmented role as part of that security team, really to help structure and drive awareness and training around the M365 solutions on a global scale. Would you be willing to share why and how this model adds value to Cox Automotive?
Of course. We shifted so quickly to handle COVID, as well as struggled to continue forward with planned project work. Enabling played a key role in being able to provide resources that could be inserted across multiple work streams and projects, allowing us to flex up without the challenges and commitments of bringing in additional full-time employees during COVID-19.
Thank you, Brian. It's been a whirlwind for sure. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the human elements over the last several months. One of the most challenging things we've seen our customers try to manage is keeping a pulse on their remote workers, especially knowing that there are potentially competing priorities with caregiving, homeschooling, the emotional and physical well-being, and then, of course, work. When there's sufficient time to plan and engage our employees, including them as part of that change, there's an opportunity to really define and manage exactly what that experience should look and feel like. A global pandemic created a unique experience for us as humans and business leaders. We weren't experiencing just one change in one aspect of our lives, but instead multiple changes in pretty much every aspect. We should be proud of our resiliency and encouraged by the advancements we've seen in just a few short months. In the past several months, my teams worked with customers to plan unique ways to engage with their remote teams. And that's included, building personal connections, creating a sense of community, and really making that meaningful regardless of where people are working. I'm really excited to see this become a priority for so many organizations, big and small. We saw such great success. We've even implemented some of these programs ourselves at Enabling Technologies. Some of the community and culture focused initiatives have been book clubs, lunch and learn sessions, gardening clubs, virtual happy hours, work from the deck days, and other common interests in social communities, just ways for people to be able to connect on a more personal level. Obviously, in each one of those scenarios, we had the opportunity to use a Microsoft solution to do that. You know, Brian, I know video isn't new to Cox Automotive. It's a widely used tool for all of you. But I remember just a few months ago when it wasn't as heavily used and when children, pets, doorbells, and even spouses in the background were worthy of gasping or rolling your eyes. But I have a new appreciation, and I think a lot of other people do as well, for that humanity back in the workplace. It's a new way for us to connect with people on a different level. I rarely join a call anymore where everyone is just muted in silence from the get-go, and instead small talk is happening about custom backgrounds from a favorite vacation or the backyard scene that they can see, or even just some other unique conversation starter because of how we're working today. These are really exciting times. Just think about how Microsoft Teams has evolved in the last 6 months. The different features like background blur, custom backgrounds, together mode, and enhancements in the meeting management tools. There's so many tools in the Microsoft stack to help organizations and their cultures evolve regardless of how people or where people are working. Just to name a few, we've had organizations leverage Yammer to provide a place for targeted social communities. This is where you might see gardening groups or volunteerism groups, different athletic clubs. We see Delve being used to allow people to showcase their skills, the current projects they're working on, and just general profile or biography type information that makes it really easy for people to connect with them. With a combination of SharePoint, Teams, and Sway, organizations have been able to enhance the new employee onboarding experience through onboarding and learning journeys that include both organizational and departmental learning, this interactive and self-paced. But it also allows the opportunity for buddy connections and just learning more about the organization, how things work, while also learning these different tools. Brian, we really haven't talked about quantitatively measuring these engagement or productivity metrics, but there's definitely a legitimate business need to understand the impact of events like COVID on the pulse of an organization. What are some of the different ways you're taking advantage of Microsoft solutions to help you analyze this impact?
This is a great question, and one that's close to my heart as it's personally helped me. At the individual level of how someone works, we are communicating and promoting My Analytics to help people assess how they as an individual are working, how a day in my life has changed, and as a result, maybe how I need to make adjustments and changes for a healthier work-life balance. I've received a summary update where I had one quiet day in the past 4 weeks. It made me really step back and be aware of my personal health and work-life balance. This past week, it told me I didn't have enough time free on my calendar to get work done. So it prompted me to allow My Analytics to start blocking focus time for me, which has certainly helped me be more self-aware. At the company level, that macro view, we have started to take advantage of workplace analytics to view organizational trends and changes. While we were just starting to take advantage of workplace analytics since COVID began, we're already looking across organizational groups and identifying outliers, and more importantly, changes in behavior from pre-COVID to now. Surfacing where we have large unexpected changes is helping our teams on where we need to focus to understand what is causing the change.
The evolution of these analytics has been really intriguing to watch. I love to hear how you're using these tools, but also know that sometimes it's really hard to get started. Do you by chance have a recommendation of where to start with all this, Brian?
Certainly. Data can be overwhelming. We found a good place to start was with meetings. I regularly hear people complain about the number of meetings they are in and the quality of those meetings. While every company and department is different, there are some good default meeting reports that can help provide quick insights to help you look for opportunities to improve the value of those meetings and time spent in them.
Let's talk about some of the fun and exciting wins we've seen over the past several months as we dig a little deeper. One of my favorite customer engagements is working with a customer who has everything working fine, We have no adoption issues, and employees love whatever tool it is that they're leveraging. I love a good challenge. I'm not looking for ways to poke holes in the statements my client shared. What I am looking for are ways to enhance and cultivate that user experience. The way my clients have responded and deployed Microsoft Teams with or without adoption over the last several months has proven to work at the surface level. What excites me more than anything is getting to showcase how to take that initial adoption to the next level, to drive boundless satisfaction, enhance productivity, and really improve business processes. Initial deployments of Microsoft Teams have been tailored more towards information or administrative type workers inside organizations. There's so much untapped potential with the first line workforce. There's an opportunity for first line workers and managers to use Microsoft Teams to connect with their employees on a different level while managing their business more effectively and efficiently. Teams can be used to drive culture, again, through things like that new employee onboarding experience, offering consistency in that onboarding process, and also helping to meet regulatory needs and ensure a sense of community. Apps like Shifts inside Teams can allow managers to schedule and push out schedules, while also allowing employees to manage their own schedule, request time off, and also swap schedules if need be. The Walkie-Talkie app allows secure Teams-based communication to take place inside of Microsoft Teams. It allows users to communicate amongst each other without doing that in an unsecure space. Custom apps can also be built to help manage the business. The possibilities are truly endless when asking the right questions to uncover that business need or that pain point. We work with customers day in and day out to help uncover these different challenges. The line of questioning sometimes throws customers off because we're not focused on what could Teams do differently or what could it do better. Instead, we focus on things like, tell me about something that makes it difficult to do your job each day. What is one thing that would make it easier to work with other business units inside your organization? Or even, what's the most challenging task you have each day? Or what's the most time-consuming or repetitive task that you do each day? Those types of questions will help you uncover gaps in business processes that can be made more efficient through apps. These solutions might not be there today. It might be something that needs to be developed. But again, the possibilities are endless. As soon as you can find the challenge, you can then meet that with a solution and build that within Microsoft Teams. If you're still not convinced, we can help you measure that through ROI. Brian, as you reflect over the last few months, what impact has that Microsoft Teams had on your ability to successfully deliver during a global pandemic?
While not a new tool, Teams was the go-to place as our entire organization went full speed into COVID response. We saw core Teams capabilities in meetings, chat, and calls skyrocket overnight. Meetings became more inclusive. Before, it was typical to have a meeting with many people in a physical conference room and then a few remote. With everyone being remote, there was no feeling of being a second-class citizen if you were not in the room.
In what ways have you seen your team and organization evolve using Microsoft Teams as a platform?
While there was no push from technology, it seems the continued expanding growth of Teams and Microsoft 365 is catching the attention of our product owners that have traditionally had little use of Microsoft 365 services. I've been a couple of meetings over just the past few weeks with product owners wanting to engage with us to begin reimagining how they can improve their services and their operations.
As we wrap up this session, we can agree it's really important to understand that remote work is evolving, and with that, so are the different M365 solutions that we're leveraging to enhance our users' experience, both in and outside the physical work locations. There's some great free resources out there that Microsoft provides to employers. Those include things like a new employee onboarding portal. It's a template housed inside SharePoint that assists organizations with streamlining the new hire experience. It incorporates learning tracks at the organizational, departmental, and role levels to create a meaningful and consumable journey for new employees. Microsoft also recently launched the Adoption Hub, adoption.microsoft.com. It provides a consolidated experience for driving adoption regardless of where you're at within your M365 adoption journey. It's really a one-stop shop for access to learning pathways, expert blogs, and even day-in-the-life training resources. Learning Pathways is a learning portal for everything M365 and more. Again, this is a free SharePoint online template that allows you to offer employees access to all of the different learning resources needed to be successful and productive with M365. Better yet, you can even customize this portal. You can incorporate industry or organization-specific training resources for your employees and track completion. Partners like Enabling also offer expert resources and support to Microsoft customers to assist throughout your M365 journey. We'll meet you where you are and leverage governance, security, and adoption health checks to assist in defining that best path forward for your organization. Additionally, we also provide workshops to help define what teamwork, collaboration, and even meetings will look like for your organization based on feedback that comes directly from your user base. Brian, do you have any parting words or advice for those joining us today that are on the fence about embracing a remote workforce and elevating the user experience through Microsoft Teams?
Of course. We started on our journey years ago to safely and securely remove traditional network and VPN barriers from the majority of our employees' workloads, consolidating data to Teams and OneDrive, embracing Teams video, even pre-COVID, as it was rare to have everyone on a meeting in the same room. When we set out years ago to provide a seamless experience from any device, anywhere, anytime, we never imagined the world we know right now would be here so soon. When COVID hit, though, it was business as usual for our communication and collaboration tools. If COVID had happened 2 years ago, it would have been a very different story and not a good one.
Those are fantastic parting words. On behalf of Brian and myself, we just want to thank you for taking the time to spend a couple of minutes with us this afternoon to talk about different adoption, best practices, and lessons learned throughout this COVID experience. Thank you for your time today.